Here we have the Begode suspension linkage generator. This is version 5, so we've come a long way. In this version, under the custom tab, this is where we can pull out our configuration. And in this configuration, we can apply the extreme offset, which will offset the linkages up here. As you do a change, it will start to generate down here as the server calculates the changes. If we zoom in a bit, we will see the extreme offset jump. We can type in the length of our coil. That will generate, every change you make, it'll make a generation. So if we just type in some random numbers here, here we go. Every change we do, our linkage will change. Great. So with this crazy little linkage that we've made, we can see our ratio. Our ratio is changed throughout, so we don't have to export the data, which makes it really great. We can see how much coil movement we've got in the final state and the linkage movement, as well as when we zip this up, just to hide it a little bit. We've got our stuff that you don't need to edit. We've got my contact, some measurements, so all the important information here, the average ratio, which is drawn here, how much it moves. These two are kind of interesting in the sense of they are the distance between here and here for the closed state. So in this state here, this one would actually collide with a master, with the frame. So ideally you want them to be quite low, and you can see that here, the distance between here and here. That's the open state. So we've got some insight on that. Hiding off the measurements. We now have auto naming, so this one is a 200 linkage by a ratio of 1.15 and a 69.66 movement. So as we change our configuration, our linkage name will change in proportion to that. Auto names being a great feature. There we go, it's changed. Measurements for spreadsheet. I haven't drawn out all the ratios, but they are actually all drawn inside the measurements. So if you did want to put them in a spreadsheet, you actually can now very easily. And the ratio stats, these are the stats that we're drawing for over here, so you don't really need to look at them. Cool. We can then generate a custom linkage here, remembering all these values, and go to our custom page, and then you have to retype them all into here. I can't remember what they were, but once you've done that, you can click OK, and then it will update and generate the custom linkage. Inside this one, I do have it building some curves to fatten out your linkage. And then you can select a face and go export, and then it will export your linkage as a step format, or you can click on the face and go save as DXF, and this will save it as a 2D export image with auto name, which is great. And then the final stage I have my presets, so this is just pulling in all the data from our custom. Again, we have all the measurements for the spreadsheet for our pre-configured linkages. I've got a few linkages that I've drawn up, for example, a base master. And all these presets are actually shown in the presets over here. This is the presets tab where I've inputted all the values in the table. So these are my presets that I like. And I can now see the ratios drawn in the current linkage I'm working on is a 100mm master with a 240 movement, and then we can see it's quite a flat linear ratio. And then jumping into the export page, this is what's had the most updates. The linkages are now cut. So as we derive the data from our preset, let's jump and choose the current one I'm working on. It'll pull in that data, it'll pull in the linkage, and it will cut it in the sense of hollow it out. And this seems to be working quite reliably for all the linkages that I've drawn and inputted values for. Yeah, so we've come a long way with this, and we'll see what we come forward in the future with. I mean, it's crazy linkage. There we go, and it works. How strong they are, well, that's up to you, and enjoy.